Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about identity crisis and why that happens. So as teenagers, a lot of us were preoccupied with the questions that who should I be? What are other people's expectations of me? And these were the questions that usually drove us to create our own identity. That is, if it gets resolved and as we progress along in our life, if we are doing things that we want, and if society appreciates that, we continue with that alignment of our identity and we progress. Okay. But what happens is sometimes we make these choices as we are growing up, we make choices that are not completely aligned with who we are, because that is what the society demands and expects of us. So as we are going along, we develop a gap with what our aligned values are and how we want to identify ourselves, but how we behave for the sake of society. So as this happens, you will observe a lot of people in their 40s and 50s who are now living with something called the permanent identity crisis. It means that they are not able to make peace with their unlived life. Let me explain. So what happens is, as we are growing up, we create, if we are not aligned with what we want and what we desire and what we aspire to be, but always try to conform to society's expectations of us and our parental expectations and all those, we actually create a false sense of self as we go along, and that creates a repressing of our own desires. So it is nothing but a lifetime of complying with others' wishes that is making our identity. So when does delayed identity crisis happen? It happens when the lie that we are living of our sense of self becomes intolerable for us to continue anymore. So how does identity form? Let's talk about that. There are three different ways identity forms: cultural brainwashing, the second thing is our past experiences that gather our sense of self depending on how others have treated us, how we have responded to situations and all that. And the third thing is, as we learn and grow in each stage of our life, as we are evolving, that also shapes our identity. Here, let's say I'm a beautiful wife of and a mother of two children, right? That is an identity that I can come up with, and it is a positive identity that I have created for myself. There can be a gentleman who might be saying, hey, I am a CEO of this big Fortune 500 company. That is my identity, right? There can be a person who just bought an expensive car, and he can think that I am the owner of this bright blue expensive car. But what happens when you align yourself, your identity, with all those things that are not permanent? What happens is, let's say the husband leaves or this marriage ends. What happens? My identity, my positive identity that I had created for myself is going to implode. If the CEO gets fired, he's no longer the CEO. He doesn't know who he is. And then the owner, if he of the car who gets into an accident, the car is now busted. So, he's not the owner of a great looking car anymore. So this is what we have to watch out for. And our identity is made up of positive and negative attributes. Negative attributes like, okay, I am a procrastinator, I have very short temper, and all those things are also going to be making you a part of your identity, but only when the positive attributes that we identify with, they collapse. That's when identity crisis happens. Okay, hope this helps. There are many more coming to this session. Okay, thank you. Bye.